he presents, okay? So keep them, there you go.
All right, give Sarah a hand, everybody. Fabulous, perfect. My name is Pete Johnson. I'm actually one of the co-authors of the book, and I just kind of bring some real-world experience. I'm a 7th degree martial artist, been training for about 30 years, and I just had the opportunity over the last 20 years of teaching to really see the population change and grow. I've had the opportunity to see parent relationships and children relationships really change. And I've been really fortunate to not only train children, but also adults. And a lot of times that what we're talking about in this subject is really gets geared towards children. But I think what we're talking about is learning a different pattern of behavior. And when we learn a different pattern of behavior, we learn new skills, we learn new ways of looking at the world, looking at our problems, that kind of affects everything else around us. What I wanted to do is ask you first if you could all just stand up for a moment. Go ahead and do that. There are 86 muscles on the human face. I would like you to smile. Good, go ahead and have a seat. Quick show of hands and a vote, quick survey. If you are here for somebody else, meaning you're dealing with somebody in your home or in your life with ADHD, and you came here curious to help someone else, could you raise your hand? Fabulous. Okay, hands down. Raise your hand if you're here for yourself and you have a diagnosis as well. Fabulous. Awesome. Put your hands down. So I've got 2 chalkboards or 2 dry erase boards. I just said chalkboards, so you know where I come from. So those of you that first raise your hand, you're here for somebody else. I'm going to write something down I'd like you to kind of take here home. Everybody see that? Can everybody see that? It says hope. For the second group, I think I'm with you. I wrote the word focus. I'd like to address maybe both of those things just because we're 2 different groups of people in the same room learning about the same topic. Having only positive expectations is what you're going to need in order to serve the people in your life that have this diagnosis. If this is you and we're working together, we're going to learn to follow one course until successful. Throughout the book, there's a lot of exercises, and I'm not here to sell the book, I'm just here to give you value. I mean, I'm here to serve you and have you walk out of here. You know, this was time well spent. Because I think the most valuable thing we have is time. Throughout the book, you're going to find a lot of exercises, but I want to maybe highlight this one and maybe 1 or 2 of the others to help bring some clarity and something you can walk out here with, like you can put your teeth into it, because I hope this is your mental dinner, right? It's okay to smile, it's okay to breathe deeply. If you're breathing really shallow, you're really getting your physiology to kind of contract. I believe we should expand our physiology. That's what I teach in my dojo, that's what we teach in our school. And the same way I got you to stand up, the same way I got you to smile, the same way I got you to give Sarah a hand, all those 3 physiological things you did differently caused a different state change in you. And what we do in the martial arts is we change people's states. Being in the zone, as Sarah mentioned, is just a byproduct of thinking a certain way, talking to yourself a certain way, and using your body in a way that's going to be empowered and in the moment. So calling on that, I call this the game matrix. And basically, right now, we're all in the game of come and listen to a talk on Monday night. We're all in that game. So we're going to call that the in the talk game that we're playing. There are 4 choices you can make when it comes to playing this game. And anything that you do could be a game. It could be the game of homework. It could be the game of being quiet. It could be the game of nap time. It could be the game of reading, whatever you insert. But let's just use this as our model. The first choice we have is we can choose not to play the game. Well, here's a good example. This chair right here, somebody's chosen that. And this empty chair here, somebody else has made that choice not to play. They're not here. Can I physically be present and not play? Of course. But as we move through the matrix, we have choice number 2, and playing for fun. This is as long as you are appreciating and enjoying the time that you are here. I just hit 15,000 steps. Sorry, my wrist just buzzed and it freaked me out. So you're here only as long as it's fun, it's enjoyable. All right? So if you're giggling, if you're laughing, if you're finding some sort of value, you're in. But the moment it makes that shift and you kind of become disengaged, you're out. Now there's 2 color schemes here because I think something very profound happens when you go above this line here and you're in the top. The next one we have is play not to lose. Now I don't know if you're as colorblind as I am, but the 2 top colors look kind of purplish to me. These 2 share one thing in common, and it's passion. It's intensity. When somebody is in the game playing not to lose, what it means is if you're very competitive and you're really great, I'm going to play just as hard as you are and maybe a little bit more. The challenge with this, and these are world-class athletes. People do really well in this environment. They are at the top 5%. But on this side, it creates, the 4th choice is to play to win. And that creates legends. That creates people that their skill just flows from who they are, what they think, and the message that's in their head. When they speak about their activity, you can relate to it because they speak to it on a level that is experiential and not defined and limited by the ice rink or the court or the ring or the field or whatever it is. Playing to win is an acronym for what's important now. And what it means is being presently in the moment physically, presently in the moment mentally, and presently in the moment spiritually. I believe we're a mind, we're a body, and we're a spirit. I've had the benefit and the opportunity of traveling and training and being in a lot of great places. One thing I have never encountered is a place where somebody will disagree that we are not a mind, we are not a body, we are not a spirit. That's a fairly universal experience that I've had. So when we look at this game matrix, these people will be outstanding, but what we're shooting for is getting people to play to win. And what that is and how that happens, it's making sure that we're anchored physically in our moment. We're in the present moment. We're not allowing our mind to go off. When I train and teach people, I teach what's called a recipe of concentration. So if I were to make chocolate chip cookies, we could all probably go and brainstorm what are some ingredients in chocolate chip cookies. But when I ask people, what is concentration? It's 3 simple ingredients. It's looking, it's thinking, and it's moving. Looking at what it is we want to do and keeping our eyes present. What we look at expands. So if I ask you to examine all the challenges you've met today and re-envision them, everything that's been hard and difficult, well, that starts to expand. What we look at, we focus on. So when we're putting our eye on a task, it helps us direct our mind to that task. Third and the final one, since I'm an athlete, is how am I moving my body? Am I moving my body, what I call might for right, or strength for good? Moving my body the right way, at the right time, for the right reason. When I combine and put these all together, and any muscle, what happens when we work it over time becomes conditioned. So it's a conditioning process. It's not only learning physically what you're doing, but the more you can do push-ups or sit-ups or squats, the more you can get your mind to be on a task for a little bit longer period of time. And so throughout the book, you'll find these exercises that will kind of take you through that. Sarah said some awesome stuff and some content, and there was one phrase that kind of came into my head. I'm glad she said it. She talked about clarity and how important that is with goal setting and knowing your course. Well, we followed the GPS here, and we needed 2 coordinates. We needed where we were going, but we also needed where we were. And I think it's really important to be mindful of where we are in terms of how we're relating to other people. And what I say is we're looking for progress. We're not looking for perfection. And we have to imagine the way that we phase through life is we crawl, we walk, and we run. But sometimes when we're working with somebody that doesn't have our attention span or doesn't have what we possess as a skill, we tend to want to go from crawling to running and forgetting about the walking, and even forgetting that we need to crawl through things once in a while. So my outlook or share, my focus point for you is to think about when you're working with somebody and you're interacting with somebody, let them be on their own time. Reward them for their effort. How much are they putting in, their input? They'll want to get the results. But if you encourage that effort, you encourage that, hey, let's crawl through this, let's take our time with this, and just keep reminding that how many % better do I need to be today than I was yesterday? 1%. I only need to be 1% better today. And at the end of the day, what was your 1% today? And then you go to bed and you wake up and it's a new day. And your 1% adds to the next 1%, adds to the next 1%. If I have a clear and tangible goal, I'm focused, it's clear, I've got to keep my eye on that goal. And the phrase I put, and I think it's in there, it's proximity is power. And I found that people with ADHD